Welcome to the Matsunoki Cafe. I'm Shiro, the owner, back with another Zenless Zone Zero character lore analysis. After covering the cutting hairs last time, naturally our next step is the Branch Street construction site. This video will be a set of analyses for all the Belobog Industries characters. Let's not waste time and dive right in, shall we?
You want to test my hammer?
Flannery's little sister is the CEO of Belobog Industries, having inherited her position from her father, who founded the company. You may not believe it at first because of her small stature, but she was able to save the company from rock bottom by rallying together the remaining workforce. Fairy theorizes Koleda's tiny frame may be a side effect of how much time she spends in hollows due to the nature of her job. As for why she has an eye patch, it's never explained. It doesn't seem to be a case of ether corruption causing blindness in her eye like Trigger. And she also had the eye patch when she was a kid, as seen in the comic where her dad left their house for the last time. Who knows, maybe her eye is just fine and she wears the eye patch to look cool. The charm in her design is how much her hair and her jacket around her waist adds to her silhouette, making her appear bigger than she actually is. But she also wears a metal headband with bear ears, which indicates that she does have some childlike interests. I know I made the joke that she looks like Flannery's little sis, but her connection to fire goes deeper than a design motif and the elements she fights with. Koleda is another name for Koleda, a Slavic celebration held in late December around the same time as Christmas. It's celebrated to honor the sun and its Slavic deity, also named Koleda. Her last name also ties into the sun imagery, as Belobog is a hypothesized Slavic god whose name literally translates to white god. Belobog represents the day, while its counterpart Chernobog represents the night. The repeated connections to the sun and daylight reinforce her fiery personality and the depiction of fire in her design. But fire isn't the only motif Koleda is associated with. Let's touch on how her character connects to the visual theme of bears ever present with this faction. In many cultures, bears often symbolize strength and bravery, both of which are traits you can associate with Koleda. But also, bears are often associated with family. The phrase mama bear comes to mind. That concept of family is integral to Koleda's growth during the second chapter of Zenless' story. At the start of the chapter, Koleda's feelings on her father were strained, to say the very least. She believed her dad just left her behind and took most of the company's money with him out of greed. His actions caused a massive scandal that left a stain on Belobog's reputation, a stain in which Koleda has spent her entire time as the company's president trying to clean. Even before then, Horse was spending less and less time with Koleda as he became swamped with work. All this meant Koleda didn't think highly of her father after his disappearance. This also caused a rift to form between her and Grace, her adopted sister, who maintained a positive opinion of Horus all these years later. But on their way to find the original prototype in the Hollow, Grace says this line, which serves as the thesis statement for this group's running theme in Koleda's character arc.
Just promise me one thing, okay, Sweet Pea? Whatever happens in the future, we face it together. Belobog is your home, even without Horse. Me, Anton, and Ben, we're all your family.
Grace is totally right. Koleda's family isn't just her father, it's the entirety of Belobog Industries. Grace is her loving older sister, Anton is the bestest of brothers, and Ben is a kind and patient father figure. And thanks to their support, Koleda is able to go deeper into the Hollow and find the prototype, allowing her to see that there was more to her father's disappearance than they initially assumed. That moment where she takes control of the prototype and calls out its name, the name she gave it, is such a nice moment that symbolizes the rekindling of her love for and faith in her father. To paraphrase what I said in my first ever video on Zenless, this moment is an excellent payoff to what they had been building up throughout this chapter concerning Koleda, which is why it's such an effective climax to this part of the story. Koleda doesn't get as much love and attention as she deserves, I feel. Her character is really solid, and fans of mine already know I'm a sucker for the found family trope. I don't see many people talking about her as much as other characters. It's bound to happen with 1.0 characters in games like these, but I also feel her chapter being the middle of the first three, being set between Nicole and Wolf Dad, it didn't help her chances. But still, she's a fun character and I hope she continues to play a substantial role in Season 2. Still can't believe the dev team never made a Koleda demo, like come on guys.
It's our turn, bro!
Anton is a member of Belobog's construction staff. His agent details list him as a senior employee and part of the company's top brass, handpicked by Horse. Even after Horse's death, he continues to be a trusted member of the company and one of Koleda's personal aides. He's actually the first agent of Belobog we get to properly learn about and meet in the main story, with Bell and Wise watching a TV interview he did on a children's program. It is still deeply funny to me that this was the guy the company thought would be a good representative for their PR, but due to his seniority, it isn't too out there to see why he would be picked to go on that show. Anton is highly energetic and loudly passionate. He's also an exceptionally reliable hard worker. In the second part of his agent detail, it's mentioned how he would secretly work late at night to complete any tasks that construction workers weren't able to get done. Anton has the emotional intelligence to tell when he's pushing his workers too far and finish where they left off. I know people have made jokes about how he's Zenless Kamina, but I think it is an intentional inspiration. Just like Kamina, Anton inspires the people around him, motivating them to go above and beyond. We see him be a positive inspiration in the story commission where he gets focused, the essence of being a bro. Hans, one of the smart machines owned by Belobog that had run away, refuses to do his mundane tasks. He believes a real bro like him shouldn't have to do the work he was built to perform. But Hans' mind is changed when Anton saves him from ethereals and gives one of his motivational speeches.
You have a great dream. It's a real shame that you're giving up so quickly. And after I agreed to have a proper showdown with you, we haven't got a winner yet.
Thanks to those words, Hans realizes the true path to becoming a bro involves hard work and is now willing to return to his day-to-day work with his new name. Speaking of names, Anton's name is a form of Anthony used in various cultures. Anthony means from Antium, which is an ancient coastal town located south of Rome. What does this have to do with Mr. Bro? I don't know. You could connect to Mark Antony, one of Caesar's generals, but the connection is loose at best. Ivanov is a common Russian and Bulgarian surname which means son of Ivan. Ivan derives from John, which means to be gracious. Gracious describes being courteous and pleasant, which Anton is by being a total bro. Anton's closest bro is the jackhammer strapped to his arm. He's constantly talking to it and making it vibrate as a way to have it respond. We see in his final trust event that he describes issues with his jackhammer like you would a person, saying he refuses to eat when he really means the battery won't charge. To refer back to his agent intel once again, it mentions how his jackhammer appears to have a connection to his former colleagues, and in this event he even has this voice line.
I really can't lose him again.
This all seems to imply that his jackhammer is a memento of co-workers that have since passed away, presumably in a hollow while doing their jobs. And while it is played up for laughs for most of the event, it is nice that the proxies don't force Anton to spill his trauma. They just accept his mannerisms and say he can tell them his story when he feels comfortable. Anton isn't defined by his tragedy, whatever that may be. He's a character defined by his optimism and personality. He motivates all those around him to reach their fullest potential. His energy is so infectious that you can't help but get excited beside him. How can you not love a total bro like that? Hey, you. Yes, you watching this video. Did you know that only a small percentage of my viewers are subscribed to me? If you've liked the video so far and want to see more like it, please consider subscribing to the channel. Every new subscriber gets us close to our goal of 2,000 subscribers before 2026. Alright, back to the regularly scheduled analyses.
Sorry I was late.
Sorry, I couldn't think of a better way to start this segment. Ben is a classic case of don't judge a book by its cover. They're not even subtle about this. Those are Weiss's exact words in the comments of Ben's agent details. And this goes far beyond faith in assuming Ben was the president of Belobog. Take a look at Ben's design. The golden chain around his neck, the scar over his eye, the big slab of concrete he's carrying over his shoulder. His general appearance is meant to be visually intimidating, even in-universe. As seen in his final trust event, he feels insecure about his looks due to how often people get scared of him. But that's the entire point. His appearance isn't fully reflective of his personality. To be fair, his tough exterior is not totally dishonest either. He may be a gentle giant, yet this is a direct quote from his agent details. I enjoy mathematics, but that doesn't stop me from giving thugs a good smack. Reminder that his main weapon is a rocket-powered concrete pillar. Pick a fight with him and you're getting your shit wrecked. Sorry, got sidetracked. Despite what his appearance may initially suggest, he is not a hardened fighter or a brawny brute. He used to be a frontline mechanical operator, but Koleda took notice of his high attention to detail and thus promoted him to be the management director of the company's finances. Rarely is he on the field doing hard labor and directly helping with construction. Instead, as Ferry put it, he's seated in a small office chair, wearing small glasses and carefully cross-referencing Belobog's asset records while mashing away at a calculator with his huge fingers. And knowing Belobog Industries almost went under due to specifically an embezzlement scandal, Ben probably had a big role to play in helping the company rise from the ashes, so to speak. Ben could be short for either Benjamin or Benedict. Benjamin can mean son of the south or son of the right hand, while Benedict means blessed. The meanings of Benjamin could mean he's from the southern side of New Eridu, or maybe connects to him being a right-hand man for Koleda, while Benedict could connect to how he feels to be working for Belobog Industries. And his last name being Bigger is a reference to his huge stature. Or his name could be a reference to Big Ben and this lovely bear's British. Insert Paddington reference here. Oh wait, I was supposed to put something in. Fuck! On the topic of Ben's big stature, I think it was an intentional choice to make him as big as he is, to contrast Koleda's comparatively tiny frame. Another design choice where they contrast is how Ben has a scar over his left eye, while Koleda's eye patch covers her right. Koleda has the company jacket wrapped around her waist, while Ben is wearing the uniform in the most standard fashion. In terms of personality, Koleda is stern, doesn't mince words, and is boisterous. Ben, meanwhile, is patient, practical, and much kinder to people. The two are distinctly different in ways that complement each other. It's no wonder then that these two are the only ones to have a team-up ultimate animation. I think it's sweet that in his final trust event, after lamenting the issues he faces due to his appearance, he mentions how Koleda complimented his style.
But the president says me being like this is full of power. I used to think that meant I looked reliable, that I could protect everyone.
You're the best bear Thyron in all of New Eridu.
Thank you for letting me believe it again.
Ben is the most simple character out of the Belobog crew, but he's by no means bad. His dynamic with Koleda and the others adds a nice touch to his characterization. He's the most down-to-earth member of the team, and pretty much the team dad, serving as a sort of straight man to the other wackiness put on display by the rest of the faction. He is best bear, enough said.
I only handle technical matters.
Now, if you thought Anton's obsession with calling his jackhammer bro is weird, whoo boy, you haven't seen anything yet. Grace is the leading expert on the tech side of things for Belobog. She's had a hand in developing pretty much all the company's in-hollow machinery. Grace is extremely fixated on seeing all machines, not just the ones that she's built, as children. To say Grace is obsessed with machinery would be a bit of an understatement. No, scratch that. It would be a big understatement. Look no further than how she talks to the proxy about EOS. Any chance she gets, she'll ask Phaethon if she can dismantle the Bangbu and look at his inner workings. In her agent story, there's a running gag where she randomly says something out of the blue, only to reveal she was talking to machines, not you or Betty. We see her tune out the people around her due to her mechanical infatuation, to the point she straight up forgot who Betty was, despite having lived in the same dorm as her during her time at the Rose Institute of Technology. Comedy is subjective, and some people found Grace forgetting Betty's existence dislikable, but personally, I found it really humorous. The idea that Grace would be so caught up with machinery that she didn't even notice a girl living in the same building as her. It's so fucking funny, man. Plus, in the text conversation after Betty's introductory scene, Koleda and the proxy both point out how Grace is in the wrong and should apologize. Your Honor, my client isn't a bad person. She's neurodivergent and an introvert. Nothing wrong with that. Her surname Howard has German origins and can mean High Guardian or Brave Heart. I think the Guardian one connects more with Grace as a character, fitting her big sister role for Koleda and being a self-proclaimed mother figure for the smart machinery. The English word grace is often used to describe an elegant or refined action. This can be used to describe Grace's technical know-how and overall skill with machinery. Her high level of expertise in the field is exactly what Betty is so envious of throughout the agent story. Wanting Grace's recognition and to show her up, Betty went so far as to plagiarize the personality OS from Horse's prototype into her own mech. It says a lot that Grace doesn't get mad at Betty purely for plagiarizing her work, but more so for refusing to heed her warning and later wanting to shirk the responsibility to stop it to someone else.
Run away? Have you thought about how many other people would be risking their lives because you neglected your duty?
This uncharacteristic outburst from Grace makes more sense after the conflict is resolved. As she explains, part of the reason for her obsession is machinery's capacity to help humanity, specifically in protecting them from the Hollows. Not only does machinery help people directly caught up in Hollows, but saving them also indirectly saves their friends and families from grief. While doing research for Grace's segment, I happened upon a Reddit thread with people expressing their frustrations and disappointments with Grace's agent story, saying it made Grace pretty unlikable for a lot of them. This final scene is what most people particularly took issue with, but I think it's a pretty solid conclusion to a story that first and foremost wanted to expand on her already established characteristics. I think her reason for loving machinery makes total sense, especially when you consider the backstory we're given during Grace's trust events. Grace's parents were Hollow researchers. While not the best parents, as they get so absorbed in their job they'd sometimes forget to feed themselves and their daughter, Grace still thinks of them pretty fondly. After they disappeared investigating a Hollow, Grace was adopted by Horse, who was a friend of her parents. With this in mind, her love for machines, stemming from how they can do hollow work in place of humans, is totally reasonable. She doesn't want other people to lose their loved ones in hollows like she did. It doesn't contradict her loving machines and viewing them as children either. She genuinely believes machines deserve sentience just as much as organic life does. Even if it makes the lives of humans easier, she still feels bad for forcing the weight of those responsibilities onto machines, sending them off to perform tasks that could get them destroyed. That's why she doesn't mind being labeled as a witch. And that's why she's going to put aside her one-sided rivalry with Betty as water under the bridge and offer to give her sample data.
But if there were more witches like me in New Eridu's future, just a few more people willing to care for these machines and shed tears for their sacrifices, well, maybe these kids would be more willing to forgive us for what we expect of them.
So yeah, I don't think Grace's agent story ruined her character. On the contrary, I think it does a good job of highlighting what makes her interesting and adds a nice bit of realism to her obsessive personality, even if it's still humorous in its absurdity. It's a similar charm to Arthur Boyle's characterization, if anyone here has seen Fire Force. A character whose strange quirks are often used as a source for jokes, but when the reason for those quirks are given, it recontextualizes their behavior to be a little heartbreaking. Grace is fun, I enjoy her presence a lot, and I love her sisterly dynamic with Koleda. Them being adopted sisters reinforces the faction's running theme the most out of any bond found between the four characters on offer. I think they made the right call making Grace an S rank alongside Koleda, as she's equally important to this faction's framework being as solid as it is. Still don't know why they chose her to be the feet girl. I brought it up already while analyzing the characters, but a very prominent theme of Belobog Industries is found family. Now this may seem redundant when the Cunning Hares also tackle this theme, but I think they were able to differentiate the two enough thanks to one key difference. While the Cunning Hares cut ties with or branched away from their pasts before coming together as a team, Belobog Industries has its characters embrace their pasts and strengthen the connections they already have. All four characters had some connection to the company before Koleda's father died in the Hollow. His death could have been the impetus for them going their separate ways and losing their connections over time, but the exact opposite happened. They all chose to stay with the company, and are still in the process of building its reputation back to its former glory. We come to see Koleda come to terms with her father's actions not being as wicked as she once believed, but also realize she can be more straightforward and open with the rest of her family, aka her company. I think the faction's tagline is a perfect way to describe this motif. Our goal is not to build a house, but a home. Despite how out there their personalities can be, they're always there for each other and are ready to build from the past to pave a way for a bright future. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to help this video survive in the algorithm by liking it, leaving a comment, and maybe even subscribing to the channel. My goal is to reach 2,000 subscribers before the year's over, so I'd appreciate any support to get us there. Thank you for visiting the Matsunoki Cafe. Have a great rest of your day. Until we meet again, take care.